What if I told you that you could control your blood sugar without giving up your favorite foods, without going to low carb, keto, or even starving yourself? This is possible. There is a simple mathematical trick that is hidden inside every meal that you can use, that can determine whether your body stores fat or turns it to be able to feed you the right way, without making you feel tired after lunch, or even feeling with low energy all day long. So this is the glycemic load formula, whereby if you understand it, then you will never look at food the same way again. Welcome to Wellness Health Services Health Talks. I'm Dr. Joshua Nderitu, a family physician. I have interest in public health and cancer prevention and treatment. In this video, we are looking at ways that you can be able to control the glycemic load of controlling the blood sugar without having to cut your carbohydrate intake. So, why is this important? Well, what is the real issue in the control of blood sugar and the issue of diabetes? Across the world, blood sugar problem is silently rising, and the millions of people are affected by it. 1 in 10 adults already lives with diabetes. One person, if you have 10 people, one of them has diabetes. And millions more are hovering in the gray area of prediabetes, and even without knowing that they have prediabetes. These are some of the challenges that our lifestyle is taking us into, and the diet being one of the major things that is influencing our lifestyle diseases. So we have been told that carbs are the enemy, and that is the issue, that carbohydrates are the food that once you eat your carbohydrates, then they get into your digestive system. There is a rise in glucose in your blood sugar, then the secretion of insulin, and a whole cascade of hormone events starts. So what happens? So cut the bread, skip the rice, and even avoid the fruit. These are the common things that you hear. But here is the truth. The real problem is not actually in the carbohydrates. The main issue is how much of the carbohydrates are you taking, and also how fast do they get into your bloodstream. Because the main issue is these insulin spikes. So the sugar enters in your bloodstream very fast and at once, then definitely it causes insulin spikes that cause problem for you. So that is where the glycemic trick load comes in. This is a science-based way of balancing your blood sugar without having to cut on all the carbohydrates. So let's look at the science behind it. Simply, this is how it works. Every carbohydrate food, be it bread, be it rice, be it the fruits, be it the potatoes, they have something called the glycemic index. And what this means is how fast that food raises your blood sugar compared to pure glucose. So you need to understand that some foods have high glycemic index, others have high or have low glycemic index. But it is not only the glycemic index of the food that tells the whole story. It is also how much of the food you eat. For example, you may take watermelon. It has a very high glycemic index. What this means is that watermelon has a very high capacity to raise your blood sugar. but a small amount of sugar per serving, then the impact of the watermelon, just a small piece, and possibly you have eaten it with vegetables, then you are able to control how quickly the sugar charge in your blood will be. And that's why the scientists have also termed another term called the glycemic load. How much of a given food are you consuming at any given time? So the glycemic load gives you a real world measure of how much of a given food that actually affects your blood sugar. So we have talked about the glycemic index, we have talked about the glycemic load. So the simple scenario is this. So the low glycemic index foods are more or less, they have very low capacity to raise your blood sugar. So they raise it slowly, 10 or less times to raise your blood sugar. Then you have the food that have medium glycemic index. They raise your blood sugar in a moderate way. Then the higher glycemic index food, they raise your sugar very fast, and they cause the insulin crashes. So how does this control of the glycemic index and the glycemic load work out? Studies that have been published in renowned journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and Diabetes show that low glycemic load means that the food with the low glycemic, if you eat a low amount of food, you give you a low glycemic load, then it will be able to reduce the post-meal glucose spikes. You will also lower your glycated hemoglobin, especially if you have diabetes. This is the glycated hemoglobin shows how your sugar control has been in the last 3 months. Then also if you use low glycemic load, then you'll also be able to improve your insulin sensitivity, because again, the sugar rises slowly. Then you'll also reduce the hunger and the energy classes. The hunger and the energy classes come as a result of you having a surge of glucose, and then you have a surge of insulin, and this will lower your sugar very fast, and then you are craving for more within a very short time. So when you think of the glycemic load, it is like the traffic lights on your metabolism. So a high glycemic load means that there's the rush hour chaos. So the vehicles are many and there's no control at all. So the blood sugar shoots up, insulin lashes, and the energy crash come in very soon. So but with low glycemic load, it means that the flow of traffic is well controlled. It is within control. So there is a steady glucose, and then there is also steady energy, and also there is also a steady mood, because definitely the low moods and the mood changes, they come because of the sugar crashes. So what happens when you eat low glycemic index food with low glycemic load? So when you apply the glycemic load to trick your body, then what it means, you don't really have to cut your carbohydrates completely. So what do you need to do? The first step is you choose foods that have low glycemic index. This would mean like you swap white rice with the brown rice, white bread with the whole grain bread. You swap things like cornflakes with the oats, and these they release glucose more slowly, and then they give you a steady source of energy, and the insulin spike is not as high. Remember that the brown rice has more fiber, and so even the rate of the absorption is low. If you take more of the whole grains flour, than the refined one, then the absorption also in the body is slower. So when you swap this, then you control how much of the insulin is released. Then the next step is to control the portion. Even healthy carbohydrates, they can raise your blood sugar if you do them in big amounts. If you take like a scoop, 2 scoops of brown rice or 2 glasses of brown rice, that's a huge source of sugar. So they will cause a surge in your blood sugar because of the amount that you have taken. Even if the brown rice has low, moderate glycemic load, glycemic index, the amount you have taken, then it will be able to raise your blood sugar. It becomes a roller coaster to your body. Then also combining foods, combine carbohydrates with fats or even fiber. So when you do this, like for example, you take the brown rice, you take it with beans or avocado or olive oil or eggs. This slows the digestion of these foods, and this also slows the rate at which the sugar is released in the body, because the other foods also have an impact on the absorption of one given food. So the result is small glucose per rice, and this will give you a better glycemic control. Then go for the intact food. What does this mean? When we talk about the intact food, we are talking about the whole grains. So you go for the whole maize flour, you go for the whole grains maize, you go for the legumes, and also you eat things like the fruits with their skins, like mangoes. They reduce the rate at which the food is absorbed in the body. And then also combining this with the vegetables, which have natural fiber, and they blunt the glucose spikes that are likely to happen. So then the other thing that you also need to note is the timing. If you eat carbohydrates after some proteins or fiber, like salads or nuts, before the carbohydrates, this slows down the rate at which the carbohydrate is absorbed. And this small habit can cut your glucose rise by 20 to 30%. This simple act of eating the carbohydrates after you have eaten some vegetables releases the sugar in the carbohydrates at a slower rate, and this has been proven by scientific studies. Then it is also good that you monitor your own responses. Different studies have shown that different people respond differently to various types of food. For example, the normal white bread. You can take bread. One person will take bread and it will raise her glycemic level. Another person will take the same bread, but the rate of rise of the sugar is not as the same as the other person. And sometimes playing some tricks like taking bread with butter, or taking bread with vegetables, or taking bread with avocado. If you monitor your sugar in these different ways, I know there has been some studies and some people who have done some tests on themselves. You take bread with eggs, and you monitor your blood sugar 30 minutes after the meal. Then you will notice that the rise of the sugar is not as much like when you take the bread alone, or you take the bread with the butter, and then you notice that the rate of rise of the sugar is not as much like when you take the bread alone. So another hack that you can apply to be able to control your blood sugar is doing exercise after a meal. For example, if you take your lunch, whatever food you have taken, you may take a meal of brown rice with possibly beans and vegetables. And then after this meal, you take a walk, a 20-minute walk after the meal. Within 30 minutes after eating the meal, you encourage your muscles to take more glucose, even without having to need insulin, and this lowers the level of your blood sugar. So exercising after meals has been shown to help in lowering your blood sugar. If you want to know more about this, I've given a talk on the importance of 20 minutes walk after meals and its importance, and how it helps you control your blood sugar. Then the other thing that you can do, some foods, when you cook them and you let them cool down, like rice, if you cook rice for supper and you retain some to eat possibly for breakfast or the lunch the rest day, and you store that rice in fridge, then by the time you come to eat on that rice, not the whole of it will be absorbable. Some of it will have turned into fiber that is non-absorbable, and that reduces the amount of sugar that food is capable of lysing. So some of these are small things that you can do, but they help you to monitor and stabilize your blood sugar without missing completely on your favorite meals. So let's look at some of the common myths that happen with these glycemic control. The myth number one is low glycemic index means low calories. This is not always. It is almost the quality and the pace of how much of the food is you take and how fast it is absorbed in the digestive system. You might also avoid fruit. Many fruits like apples or pears and the berries, they have low to medium glycemic index, and especially when you eat them with your coverings, you don't have to worry very much. But you know, again, the amount you take is also very important to note about. Then the myth myth number 3 is that low carbohydrate diets are the only way. It is not the only way. It has been shown that low glycemic load diet can also improve your blood sugar without the extreme of carbohydrates like the restriction. So this is some of the ways that you can still enjoy your carbohydrates without having to cut them 100%. So what is the bigger picture? The glycemic load trick is not just about diabetes. It can reduce the hunger. It can also stabilize mood. It can also protect your heart and even improve your brain performance, because when your glucose is stable, then your body and also your mind are in harmony. So these tricks that I'm talking about, they're not only meant for people with diabetes. And I usually say that all of us, if we do not live light, then we will get ourselves to a situation where we have excess weight. Excess weight brings about belly fat. Belly fat puts you to a lot of many lifestyle risks like diabetes, hypertension, many cancers that are associated with the increased belly fat. So then what it means is that low glycemic load aligns beautifully with our traditional diet. If you look at like the African diet, the Mediterranean diet, the Japanese diet, and many of the African foods, we used to eat whole grain ugali, the githeri, the vegetables we take, all these with a lot of plant-based proteins are very healthy, and they are non-refined, and they give us the necessary glucose without having to spike our sugar levels. So next time you sit down for a meal, don't fear your carbohydrates, but figure it out. What can you be able to adjust so that you don't cause to spike your sugar? So think of the glycemic load in your plate. Can you slow it down, or can you add fiber? Can you reduce the portion, or what food can you pair it so that you don't have to spike your blood sugar? And so you can be able to control your glycemic load, and you can also control your energy, and you can also control your weight, and also control your health long term with these simple feeding tricks you can be able to enjoy some of your favorite foods without having to give them up altogether, because either you want to control your weight, you want to control your diabetes, and this is science helping you to eat smarter and not more stricter. So if you found this video useful, I encourage that you share it with someone with the diabetes or pre-diabetes, or someone who is struggling to control his weight or her weight and does not know what to do. I encourage you also to subscribe to the Overall Health YouTube channel so that you get more evidence-based healthier insights. And also, if you have diabetes, or you have pre-diabetes or metabolic syndrome or obesity, and you need someone to work with you through the journey to be able to refer some of these conditions and help you control your weight, then you can join the Health Insight 360 program, where we personalize your care and your nutrition and your lifestyle to get good glucose control and be able to take over the control of your life and also stay healthy and happier. So subscribe to the Overall Health YouTube channel and follow us on our social media at Dr. Nderitu on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also Instagram and X. Thank you very much for watching. You can also book yourself either a virtual or a physical consultation at our Wellness Health Services website as shown on the screen. Thank you.